I was in the middle of prepping for a new tutorial that's going to be coming out soon on how to make this button effect when I stumbled across a way that we can make component variations inside of bricks. Now, right now, component variations do not exist. So this is kind of a workaround, like pseudo way of doing it, but it still works. Let me show you what the problem is, how I solved it, and how we can make different variations of a component. So for this button effect to work, I have to have a few things. I have to have a class of button effect waterfall to be applied to my button. It can work on any button I want, but it needs that class. On top of this, I have to remember to set a data attribute of data content to the exact same text that is inside my button or my link text. And I have to remember to do this every single time. So if I want to add a button, I have to go, okay, I want this to be start your project. I want this to be a button effect. So you have to remember the class that goes there. I want a button primary, and the text is not showing up. Why not? Well, I have to remember to go and add that data attribute. So we'll go data content of start your project, right? A lot of things to remember to get this button to work appropriately. So let's use a component, and then I'll show you how to make variations of it. So let's use this one. Let's create a component as a component, save as a component, waterfall button, create. Now I need two things. I need text and link information. So let's go add properties, and we'll go text. This one can be button text. We will go default. We'll say start your project is the default. Create, and let's do a link. This one can be button link, and we'll go default here, be custom URL of hashtag create. Okay, now let's link up those properties. So we'll go back to our content here of button text. We need our link. And now I can also link up that text to the attribute. So let's remove this here. I want that text to also go to the attribute. So let's save it. Let's go back, home page. Okay, here's our second button here. Well, I want this to say contact us. So let's go. Can I not click on it? There we go. Contact us. Save, we'll view on the front end. Now we can see it links up in just one spot. I don't have to remember to add all the data attributes and everything. It's done. Now the next problem. I want to be able to change this button to a different type. Maybe I want it to be an outline. Maybe I want it to be a small button or a medium button. I don't have the option to choose a different variation of this button. But let's kind of do a workaround here. So let's go and edit. I have to think about this. For this button, by default, I want the button effect waterfall class to be applied to it no matter what. However, I want to be able to adjust if it's a button primary, if it's a button neutral, if it's a button small, right? I want to be able to change those classes. So we're going to add a new property here, text, and we're going to call this one button classes. And the default, what's my default class I want to be applied? I want it to just be a button primary. We're going to save and go back. I want to remove the button primary from this selector up here. Okay, but we're going to add it to the CSS area of CSS classes. So we'll go button classes, and I think save is just there. Okay, perfect. Let's save and make sure we're good here. Okay, everything's still working correctly. Well, now I actually want this to be a button primary, button large. I want it to be a large button. And now check this out. Now it's a large button primary. Oh, actually, now I want this one to be a button outline as well. So I have a way to like pseudo apply different variations of this component just with different classes. So you can actually build this in many different ways to allow for different classes. Like for instance, we could go in here and say in our property classes, we can tell the person only apply one of these options, right? And you can tell them option one, 2, 3, whatever it is. And you can tell the person that's about to add this component to be very careful on what they apply to this, and they can apply their own classes. So let's go back to the structure here. Okay, so here we can see the information. It tells us only apply one of these classes, option 1, option 2, doesn't really space them out, but you could probably find a way to work around that. This was a short video, but if you found this helpful, leave a like, leave a comment. It is greatly appreciated, and I will see you guys in the next video where I show you how to make this effect.